All right, folks, welcome back to the Be the Bright podcast presented by Ridge Supply. My name is Matt Hawkins. I'm the owner of Ridge Supply. I'm here with Jordan Spoon, who's the man behind the Instagram account for Ridge Supply Arsenal, which is our ambassador group. And we're here again. This is I think it's our fourth episode we're doing here with Ryan Charles. We may be here all day. This might be an entire podcast in and of itself. Ryan is one of our original Arsenal members. He's down in Houma, Louisiana, and we are recording live here on Zoom to ask him some questions and put him through our YouTube and Spotify filters. So if you want to catch any of these episodes, please subscribe to any podcast area or to our YouTube channel. Ryan, welcome again. Jordan, thank you for helping me along this way. Ryan, we were just talking in the previous episode, and we were discussing all manner of things and some of the commonalities and stuff that we have. And, you know, one of the things that struck me this year as we've been dealing with COVID, dealing with lockdowns, dealing with social unrest, is that I found when all of a sudden the Black Lives Matter movement kind of took over social media. It was in June, I think, but it was like all of a sudden one day we were supposed to, you know, there was so much pressure to post something about a Black Lives Matter movement. And I was getting a free pass from people that I know that are people of color, because they were like, oh, you know, you've been doing this since whatever, you don't have to worry. And I was like, no, I do have to worry about this because it's important, you know, and I am just a white dude, you know, who can't speak on it. But you've always been somebody that I have shamelessly reposted and used as a brand ambassador. And I felt like we put you in this situation where you became overnight, it was like, what does Ryan think? You know, tell me a little bit about like how that relates to you, you know, with writing and with being, did you feel like in June you all of a sudden became a spokesperson for, you know, for this? Or
in a sense, yes, because of course I am a man of color, and
we can see that if you're on YouTube, you can see that.
I think the fact that my background from a child coming up, I was always I grew up all through school. I went to private school, so it was predominantly white school.
Yeah.
So I was always, of course, proud that I was Black, but I was able to carry myself in any situation.
Right.
So I think more times than less, I've been put in that situation where, hey, what do you think, Ryan? You're a Black guy, but you kind of understand from both sides of the spectrum. And I think it came to my personal preference. I don't really get into politics much, and I have my own opinions in the way I look at things, and I try to look at the big picture. I try to be the bright, you know what I mean, in all aspects. And I think it's the powers that be that's just trying to create division in the whole thing. I don't think it's this guy. I don't think it's that guy. A lot of this is just malarkey to me personally. And I just feel like, as a Black person, yes, there are some things that I deal with personally that, of course, you'll never understand because of our color. And it shouldn't be that way, but hey, that's life. But, and it's just like we're having now, this open communication. This is where things are learned. Yeah. You can tell me things about what you see about me, and I can tell you things that I see about you.
Sure.
Not personally, but I'm just saying in general, where we can all understand one. And I think it's more the ignorance on all aspects and in all colors and all races that is creating this. And we have to open the book. And it's not going to happen overnight. And I don't know if this awareness has opened up. And me personally, I've seen it where I've had to say, hey, look, let me step back and open up and say, hey, what are you seeing? Because I know this person is a great person.
Yeah.
but they're seeing something from a different aspect. So let me understand them, listen to them, and then they'll listen to me, and we can come together and maybe work this thing out at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I hear feedback. I don't know if that's, but I'm with you in that. I think communication about and being honest that something's there is maybe that's the biggest change I've seen so far. I know we had a hard time. We meaning like me and my buddies that I kind of communicate with all the time. Mm-hmm. We had a hard time like feeling like that we were doing something wrong, you know, like, hey, you're doing something wrong. Well, it's like, of course we are, because we were blind to the fact that we were actually living a privilege, you know. And once you sort of acknowledge that, it's a lot easier to be empathetic about the movement. You know, where you live and also kind of where I live is Southern culture. It's country, I think is the right word. Yeah, you know, yeah, we don't live in like tiny little, I mean, my town's pretty tiny, but you know, like you're in a city, but it's still a country, you know, environment. And the mindset of that and the people around you is way different than say like Portland or like Chicago or like New York. And I know I found where I'm at, I'm surrounded by people that just like, I am not operating on the same wavelength that these folks are, you know, but I also like acknowledge that it's their right to feel that way. And not that it's right or wrong. It's just, there's a mountain to climb here. Not a, you know,
it's more education. It's more education to than anything, because like I said, if it's something you've been taught all your life, you think it's right. You don't. Yeah. We don't know what's right or wrong, you know. Yeah. So it's not I don't think it's anybody's fault, but it is our fault to not educate ourselves, and that's what we got to do.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being there for us as well, and keeping things friendly. You know, you know, if you're a white guy, people always joke, you know, they're like, oh, all my black friends, you know, and they don't even have black friends. They just say that. And, you know, and the reality is we all grow up around the people we grow up, and we're friends with the people we grow up around, you know, and that's kind of that isn't always people's choice about like where they live and what their demographic is and whatever. Social media for me has been really neat, because definitely from a customer standpoint, and we talked about this earlier with Jordan, the diversity in the people that are in my customer base specifically is actually really kind of unique. Cycling does not have a diverse demographic. It's not, I mean, and I don't think it's cycling's fault. It's so much, and it's not like a point your finger. It's not like people are keeping other people out. It's that it's just you know, it's a hard sport. It's not cheap. Everybody knows how to ride a bike, but getting into actually cycling, there's a massive mental jump from just like going for your first ride to actually enjoying it. You know, like my wife will tell you, she's like, I don't understand. You can go for 100-mile bike ride and you love it, but you can't stand on a concrete floor for 2 minutes without complaining, you know, and there's a difference becoming a cyclist. And I think that Ridge Supply's group of people, what I've noticed, if you follow what people are saying and doing on social media, I mean, we got it from the hard left all the way to the hard right. And those two groups, they couldn't be further apart from each other. And somewhere where the Be the Bright thing has spread that, you know, like maybe, and I'm not trying to claim it, but like maybe that's the answer, you know? Maybe the answer is like
the same thing. Yeah. That's the socks, man. It's the socks.
If we just bring us home. Maybe if we're just positive, for goodness sakes, you know, we'll try to do the right thing, and then things will work itself out. So, I don't know. I don't mean to be the guy who's like got the answer. I certainly don't. But I wanted to thank you for stepping up when you were thrust in the middle of this situation, just because you were the guy who's constantly been a person of color, who's been in my sphere. And it's not that there's not that many folks, but it's the way that you have passionately like created content and spread the message that I think is a really cool, first kudos to you, like you brought more people in your local circle to the brand. And I don't think people understand that is how Ridge Supply spreads,
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's it. Organic. You're not going to find out about it. I mean, yes, some people stumble upon it, but most people find out about it because somebody they rode with was like, hey man, this is where you get this. And then they tried and it works. So, thank you. Is there anything that you feel like we can do as a brand? I'm putting you on the spot. Is there anything we can do that's going to help bring people like yourself? And I don't mean just people of color, but people that maybe weren't gonna, like that are lifting or are doing CrossFit or whatever, and that like they need cardio and they need to come to this sport. What can we do that makes
Honestly,
people?
Matt, I don't think there's anything we need to do differently. I think the whole arsenal and allowing members to come in and and opening that up and bringing new members on, that in itself is an avenue to almost kind of like boost somebody's confidence, because hey, I've been allowed to be a part of something. Like I said earlier, everybody wants to be a part of something. Yeah. And the whole Arsenal family is like, hey, I'm part of something. Just I had a friend of mine that just got accepted, and she was so hyped. And I was like, yeah, that's how I felt too. And it's a boost of confidence, and just the socks in general, man. I don't think there's nothing that you're not doing. Just be the bright.
There's plenty we're not doing yet. I mean,
Be the bright. I can't say more than that. That in itself, man, that's the moniker.
Well, I appreciate that. Ryan, episode 14 done, covered some hot topics. We appreciate your being here with us. We got a little bit more to unpack. If you need to subscribe to YouTube channels down here, if you need to hit the next episode, it's down here. I think I probably do my hands a different way. But thank you so much, Jordan and Ryan, for being here, and we will see you in episode 15.